What would you do if you walked past a window and overheard your husband confess he was cheating on you not out of love, but for a promotion? Emily Carter thought she had it all: a beautiful home in Boston, two loving kids, and a husband who once called her his entire world. But in a single evening, everything unraveled. She wasn't meant to hear it. She wasn't even supposed to be there. But fate led her to that window. And what she heard shattered more than just her trust. It revealed a web of lies, a fake business, a secret woman named Chloe, and a stolen signature tied to a $300,000 loan. She had a choice: stay silent and save face, or expose the man she once loved in front of the entire company and risk losing everything. What she did next will leave you breathless. This is not just a story about betrayal. It's a story about strength, about standing up when the world wants you to stay quiet. Are you ready to know what she did? Watch to the end and prepare for a twist you won't forget. You're being paranoid. That's what Emily Carter had told herself that morning, just before everything unraveled. The day began like any other: a whirlwind of scrambled eggs, coffee spills, and urgent emails. The sound of laughter echoed from the living room as Mason, her 5-year-old, built rocket towers with plastic bricks, while Sophie, mature beyond her 7 years, tried to help him pack his backpack. Emily stood in the kitchen downing lukewarm coffee while reviewing quarterly projections on her tablet. The presentation for European investors was in less than 2 hours. "Ryan," she called toward the bedroom, "don't forget you're dropping the kids at school today." From behind the door came the sleepy grumble of her husband, Ryan Carter, followed by the hiss of the shower. He always seemed to drag his feet when the morning involved any real responsibility. She turned back to the kids with a weary smile. "Mason, sweetheart, we're on a schedule. But why can't you take us?" he asked, spooning eggs with his usual reluctance. Emily knelt beside him, her heart tightening. "Because Mommy has a very important meeting today. But I promise I'll be home tonight, and guess what? I'll read you that pirate story we started." His eyes sparkled the same chocolate brown as Ryan's. Guilt swept over her like a wave. Lately, she'd been missing more than just bedtime. Ryan finally emerged, tousled and smelling faintly of aftershave. He poured himself the last of the coffee, not bothering to offer any. "You could have left me a drop. You could have gotten up 10 minutes earlier." He smirked, but there was tension in his jaw. Emily served breakfast, every motion calculated, masking the irritation bubbling beneath her skin. "I can't be late today. Please don't forget Sophie's art class. She has it right after lunch," Ryan groaned. "It's always something. You know, I've got that client pitch. We talked about this last night." "You agreed." Yeah. He waved a hand. "I'll figure it out. But then you have to pick them up." "Of course, always tit for tat." After a rushed goodbye, Emily sped off toward her office in downtown Boston. The modern glass tower rose like a fortress of control and calm, a place where she felt confident, capable, respected. Her assistant Lily was waiting with the portfolio. "European investors are in the lounge," she said with a bright smile. "Thank you, Lily. Please arrange for coffee and water in the conference room." The moment Emily stepped into the meeting, her nerves vanished. She was in command, presenting data, fielding questions, making projections. Her voice was firm, her timing precise. This was her battlefield, and she was a seasoned warrior until her phone vibrated. She ignored it at first, protocol, but the second buzz made her glance. The caller ID: Sophie and Mason's daycare. Her stomach twisted. "Please excuse me," she said to the room, exiting with practiced poise. The voice on the line was concerned. "Mrs. Carter Mason's running a fever 101. His energy dropped after breakfast. We think it's viral, but he needs to go home." Emily's chest tightened. "Have you called his father?" "We did, but he said he couldn't come. He mentioned an important meeting." "Of course. Okay, please wait for me. I'll make arrangements." Emily hung up and immediately dialed Ryan Mason's sick 101 fever. "Can you get him? I told you, I can't. I have a meeting with corporate. It's about my promotion. He's our son, Ryan. He's sick. You have to figure it out." "Call my mom." Silence. Emily clenched her jaw. Margaret Carter, the last person she wanted to involve, but she did. And just as expected, Margaret answered with frosty civility. "I'll pick him up. Someone has to prioritize the children's well-being." The jab landed right where it hurt. Emily returned to the boardroom, her face calm but mind churning. She finished the presentation flawlessly, even earning rare praise from Mr. Harrison, her boss. But her heart was far away. Back in her office, her phone rang again. Unknown number. Hello, this is Daniel Brooks from Capital Trust Bank. I'm calling to confirm your co-signature on the $300,000 small business loan. Emily's blood ran cold. Excuse me. Your husband, Ryan Carter, listed you as guarantor. The loan was approved 3 days ago. Her world tilted. She hadn't signed anything, hadn't even heard about any business plan. Trying to control her voice, she said, "I'll need to get back to you." Hanging up, she stared at the wall, nausea rising in her throat. He forged my name. Without hesitation, she dialed Ryan. He answered on the third ring. "Babe, can we talk later?" "No, tell me right now why a bank just called me about a loan you took out with my name on it." A pause. "I was gonna tell you. It's a surprise. I'm starting my own firm. I needed someone with a good credit score." "Come on, Em, don't freak out. Don't freak out. You committed fraud." "No, it's not like that. It's an investment. You'll see, it's for us." "You didn't even talk to me. I didn't want to burden you with the details until I had it all ready. Trust me, it's a smart move." But Emily couldn't shake the feeling in her gut. Something was off. Cold, calculated, like he wasn't telling her everything. She ended the call. She needed air. She needed answers. And she needed the truth. That night, Emily drove to Newton to her mother-in-law's suburban home to check on Mason and bring the kids home. But as she passed under the open window of the living room, she heard voices, familiar ones, Ryan and Margaret. "She doesn't need to know everything," Ryan was saying. Margaret replied, voice sharp but low. "Ryan hiding it won't make it go away. What if she finds out about Chloe?" Emily froze. "Chloe." She stepped back into the shadows, heart racing, listening to the rest of the conversation that would rip her world apart. The night air was cold, but Emily Carter stood frozen under the soft glow of the porch light, her breath caught between disbelief and devastation. "She doesn't need to know everything," Ryan's voice had said, and then came the dagger. "What if she finds out about Chloe?" The name curled through her chest like smoke, acrid and undeniable. Her mind scrambled. "Chloe who? Is Chloe inside?" Margaret Carter responded in a lower, almost weary tone. "Ryan, this isn't just a fling. It's a full-blown betrayal of your marriage. You forged your wife's signature. You're lying to her and to yourself." Emily gripped the railing, her knuckles white. Her world, so carefully constructed, was fracturing. The career she'd built, the children she'd loved, the marriage she'd fought to keep balanced, all of it now teetered on the edge of a truth she hadn't seen coming. "And you think sleeping with Chloe will make you a better man?" Margaret added, her voice now laced with scorn. "Mom," Ryan snapped, "Chloe is more than that. Her uncle practically runs the regional division. With her on my side, I'm guaranteed a promotion." He laughed bitterly. "And you know how Emily is. She doesn't support me. She makes more money, calls all the shots. I'm tired of being the dad who drops off the kids." Emily stepped back from the window, the breath knocked out of her. 8 years, 2 children. And this was how he saw her. She wanted to barge in, to scream, to throw the door open and expose them both. But she couldn't, not yet. Her children were inside. Her son was recovering from a fever. Her daughter still adored her father. And her dignity bruised as it was deserved something better than a scene. Instead, she pressed her hand to her chest, steadied her breath, and walked quietly toward the front door. It was Sophie who saw her first. "Mommy," she squealed, throwing open the door. "I saw your car." "Come in, Mason's feeling better." Emily mustered a smile. Her heart splintered, but her voice soft. "That's wonderful, sweetheart. I missed you both." Ryan appeared moments later, adjusting his shirt collar, eyes widening in surprise. "You're early," he said, trying to sound casual. Emily didn't respond. She kissed Mason's forehead, then read them a bedtime story, as if her heart weren't imploding with every turn of the page. Once the kids were tucked in, she stood up. "Ryan, we need to talk." Now he followed her into the kitchen, closing the door behind them, his posture already defensive. "What's this about?" Emily's eyes didn't flinch. The $300,000 loan, Chloe. The fake signature. The lies. Ryan froze, the color draining from his face. "Who told you? I heard everything." She interrupted, her voice sharp and steady. From the window there was a silence so thick it seemed to bend the air between them. He tried a half smile. "Okay. I messed up, but it's not what you think." No, Emily's voice cracked. "Because it sounds exactly like what I think." Ryan moved closer, reaching for her hands, but she stepped back. I needed leverage, he said quickly. I needed to feel like I was worth something. You're always ahead in earnings and confidence in life. I needed my own thing. So you slept with your ticket to a promotion? His eyes dropped to the floor. It was a mistake, stop. Her voice cracked like a whip. You didn't make a mistake, Ryan. You made a choice. You chose her. You chose your ego, and you chose to gamble our family. He sank into a chair, burying his face in his hands. I didn't think it would get this far. Emily stood tall, cold, and clear now. You didn't think? That's the only truthful thing you've said. She turned to leave, but paused at the doorway. Tomorrow I'm taking the kids home. You'll stay here. And if you even think about touching our joint accounts again, I'll have my lawyer freeze everything. Ryan shot up, desperate. Emily, wait. But she was already gone. The next day, Emily met with Daniel Brooks, her college friend, now a cybersecurity expert, at a cafe in downtown Boston. As she sipped her coffee with trembling fingers, she told him everything: the affair, the forged signature, the hidden bank activity. Daniel listened in silence, but his eyes burned with concern. I'll help you, he said. We'll dig through everything: emails, account, activity, deleted files. But Emily, she looked up. You need to prepare yourself. This may go deeper than you think, Emily nodded. I'm ready. I need to protect my kids and myself. For the next hour, Daniel guided her through checking digital records, reviewing bank statements, and even loading software that would recover deleted messages. What they found confirmed her worst fears. Ryan had indeed used the loan to funnel money into a suspicious startup, registered only 3 months ago, with no legitimate operations. He'd already sent nearly $50,000 to Chloe's uncle's consulting firm. And worst of all, there were intimate messages between Ryan and Chloe with photos, reservations for upcoming getaways, and plans for their future. Emily sat back in her chair, her entire body numb. You okay? Daniel asked softly. No, she said, but I will be. She took a deep breath, then opened her phone and typed a single message. Not to Ryan, but to Rachel, her best friend. I'm done pretending. Help me find a lawyer. If you discovered your partner had forged your signature, cheated and gambled your family's future for personal gain, would you confront them quietly or expose them publicly? The silence in Emily Carter's bedroom was eerie. She stood before her wardrobe, one hand still resting on the navy blue dress that hung there like a forgotten memory. The dress Ryan had once told her made her look like a star. That was before she knew the truth. Before she found the texts, the forged documents. The betrayal tonight wasn't for memories. Tonight was for justice. Down the hall, Rachel was helping the kids finish packing their overnight bags. Mason clutched his space-themed pajamas while Sophie carefully placed her favorite drawing notebook into a pink tote bag. Emily kissed them both. Mama's going to a grown-up meeting tonight. Okay, Aunt Rachel and Uncle James will take you for pizza and a movie. Then you'll sleep over. Sophie looked up, her big brown eyes wary. Will Daddy be there? Emily crouched down and met her daughter's gaze. Not tonight, sweetheart, but I'll explain everything soon. I promise. The children left and the house fell still. Emily stood alone in the kitchen, the file folder from Daniel Brooks heavy in her hand. Bank transfers, screen captures, emails, she had everything. At 6:25 p.m., Daniel's car pulled into the driveway. He stepped out in a crisp black suit, calm as always, his eyes scanning her face for hesitation. You sure? He asked. Emily nodded. Absolutely. The River Plaza. Conference hall gleamed under soft golden lights. Waiters floated by with trays of champagne and hors d'oeuvres. Jazz drifted from the corner stage. It looked perfect, just like the image Ryan had worked so hard to project. Emily stepped into the atrium in a fitted emerald green dress that shimmered under the lights. She wasn't here to blend in. She was here to be seen. Her gaze swept the room, and there he was, Ryan, laughing, drink in hand, standing beside a slim blonde in a black satin gown. Chloe, Daniel whispered. Now or never. Emily moved. Good evening, everyone, she said, voice calm, but loud enough to turn heads. Ryan's smile cracked instantly. Emily, what are you doing here? She stepped between him and Chloe, eyes blazing. Supporting my husband, of course. Isn't that what wives do? Chloe blinked. Ryan reached for her arm. Let's go. Talk. Emily held up the folder. Why don't you tell them about your brilliant business idea, the one funded by stolen money, fake documents, and my signature? The air went still. Mr. Whitmore, Chloe's uncle and regional executive, stepped forward. What's going on? Emily passed him a copy of the financial transactions. This man forged his wife's signature to secure a $300,000 loan, then funneled funds into a shell company tied to your niece. I suggest your legal team take a closer look. Ryan turned white. Emily, stop this? No, Ryan. You don't get to stop me anymore. Chloe muttered something and walked away, her heels clicking like gunshots across the floor. Mr. Whitmore followed close behind, face like stone. Ryan tried to salvage what was left. You just ruined everything. My future. No, Emily said coldly. You did that all by yourself. She turned to leave. Behind her, Daniel placed a reassuring hand on her back. The next morning, Emily sat at her kitchen table, coffee in one hand, legal forms in the other. Divorce papers, bank account freezes, child custody plans. It was all there ready. The front door opened. Rachel and the kids came bursting in. Mama Mason ran to her. Did the grown-up meeting go well? Emily lifted him into her arms, holding him close. It went just the way it was supposed to. Sophie joined them at the table, holding up a new drawing. It's us, you, me, Mason, and that's Mr. Daniel. He helped you, right? Emily looked at the sketch, her eyes stinging, 4 smiling stick figures holding hands under a rainbow. She nodded slowly. Yes, he did. 3 months later, a new home, a smaller apartment, but filled with light and peace. Sophie and Mason adjusted quickly. Laughter replaced tension, bedtime stories returned. Emily received a promotion, director of finance, from Mr. Harrison, who had watched her navigate the storm with strength and clarity. And Daniel, he didn't push, he didn't expect, but he stayed. The man who once watched her from across college classrooms was now helping Mason build a model rocket in the living room, while Sophie practiced reading next to them. One night, Emily stood on the balcony watching the city lights. Daniel stepped beside her. I'm not rushing anything, he said, but if you're ever ready, I'd like to be part of whatever comes next. Emily didn't answer right away. She looked back into the living room at her children, safe and loved, at the man who'd stood beside her when everything else collapsed. Then she took his hand. Step by step, she said, no more lies, no more pretending. He smiled. Step by step. Do you believe Ryan deserved a second chance? Or did Emily make the right choice? What do you think of Emily's story? If you felt inspired or moved, comment 100 below to show your love for her strength. Tell us where you're watching from, US, Europe, or anywhere in the world. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so more people can experience stories that matter.